Now, I know when we first had the conversation, I said, well, tell me about some of the CRMs. And you mentioned some that I didn't know about until after you mentioned them. And then I went to look at them to go, now I see why you actually recommend them, because there's the shiny ones that everybody knows about. And then there are the ones that are actually more custom to specific people's needs. And why get something where it has a bunch of features that you're not going to use just so that you can say that you have the features when you can get something that does exactly what you need it to do? And then it's more cost effective. So I think those things are really important. And then you spoke to the different types of people that you work with. There are the DIY people, there are the done with you people, and there are the done for. And the way that I describe it is some people have more money than time and some people have more time than money.
Mhm.
So you're actually identifying the difference between them and being able to say, okay, we're actually with AI, we're in an empowerment era. Everything is about there's an overwhelm of information and people are empowered to be able to make all kind of choices and all kind of moves with their business. But it's knowing the right ones to be able to make. If you have someone that's more focused on, I want to focus on running my business, then that's somebody that may have more money than time. And they say, you know what, I don't want to have to think about these things. As much as I love that you want to be able to empower me and make sure that I can learn how to do all the things that I want to be able to do, I'm actually almost hiring you as a consultant so that I don't have to think about those things.
Yeah.
And then there are those people that are more done with you where they are looking to be empowered. And I think that's really special because there are so many businesses that set their foundation and their business model up around keeping you as a customer. And they almost pigeonhole you in a way so that when they bring you in, you're scared to be able to leave because when you're talking about switching platforms, there's workflows. Anyone that's had to manually set up a workflow and it's anything that's remotely, I can't even say remotely complicated. If you just had to set up email campaigns and you have multiple campaigns going on, you know how tedious it can be. And you're not going to be anxious to leave from one platform to the next unless you know there's a way to be able to do it seamlessly. So you helping people think those things through beforehand is something that I think is really, really helpful because if they don't know those things, they'll end up getting on a platform and staying with someone that they don't really like or really want to be with because their workflow is already set up that way. And it's both with the CRM and the person that helped them set it up. So you giving people the option is something that I think empowers people in ways that a lot of people don't really get. And it's something that I think that's the real value in what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah, and every time, even the people that just want me to do it for them, that's totally fine. But I show proof that I've actually implemented that requested feature. Like I basically do a training video on how to use it from the user interface perspective,
Mm.
whether it's for them and or any new incoming BAs or employees, so they know how to utilize that feature. And I create a video training library for them, so they have that where they don't need to call on me again and be like, "Hey, how did you do that before?" No, it's documented. There's already a video for it, multiple videos based on what feature you wanted, and I show you how to actually do it with the screen record and step by step on how to implement that feature based on what I implemented for you. So they know everything they wanted was completed. Like I like feeling complete. Like I want
Yes.
it to be complete for them. Like I just don't want to create the feature and say it's done. No, I create the feature, create a Loom video on it, telling them how to actually use that feature. And then when I'm done, I move on to the next feature. I do the same thing over again, repeat and rinse. Keep on
Hmm.
doing it so that they know that everything that I've done for them has been done and it requires their feedback so that I can make any appropriate changes to refine what they want. And I enjoy that process because it's clear, concise, to the point, and they know that I've crossed the T's, dotted the I's, and put the accents on the E's or whatever the case may be.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, no, I think it's really important for people to understand that part of it. I think that what a lot of people are not necessarily thinking about is sometimes someone will walk you through something once, but you're not necessarily going to get it right the first time. And then it's also something where you may not be in a position to be able to use it the way that you want to be able to use it. Having a Loom video and having something where it walks someone through, that's not just for that person, that's for the next person that they may bring in.
Yep.
So if someone ends up scaling or growing their business, now they have something that they can actually share and they don't have to take the time to be able to train that person.
Mhm.
You're giving them training for that person to be able to say, oh, here's your onboarding information. This is what I used. And it's also a great way to be able to gauge if you hired the right person. Because if that person was able to understand it based on what you shared with them, and then they share it with someone else who's claiming to be an expert in it, and then they're looking at the video and they can't figure out any of what you're talking about, then it may be something where they look good on the resume, but they're not actually someone that knows how to apply things. I think one of the things that I've learned over the years is there are a lot of people that know how to use certain platforms and tools, but they know how to use it one way. And the moment that you shift things up and say, okay, well, here's how we're going to use it, some people end up being lost. So they're not necessarily experts, they're just someone that used something. And I think that's the difference. So you're empowering people not just to be able to learn how to do it themselves, but you also give them a way to be able to evaluate the people that they may offload things to or outsource things to, because that frees up their time. They don't have to go through the training. They can hand that off to someone and say, okay, this should be enough for you to understand it. And if you don't, that leads to more follow-up questions that I think would actually help a business be able to evaluate who they're outsourcing things to and make sure that they're making the right kind of choice.